I think my background in AI started 2015. In 2015, I was spending £1 million a year on AI. So I think I get the vote for who's wasted the most money in pursuit of this degree. And we heard about training, and 3 weeks ago I spent $1,100 for some personal training on how to develop psychometric profiles in AI. So I'm still following that dream of if I throw more and more money at this, then things will get better. What I'm going to show you now is a glimpse of the future. We heard Jed talking about robotics. At the weekend I got a call from a private equity investor. I've now got one new assignment that's looking into robotic automation using AI. So it's here now, it's not 2 years out. Colleague of mine in Holland is developing self-driving tanks for the battlefield. So you think, well, what's so hard about self-driving? My car, it has Google Maps and Apple Maps and all the rest of it. But no one's mapped all the farm fields and the rivers and the rocky bits. And so there's a picture of a tank driving at 35 kilometers an hour that suddenly hits a ditch at 45 degrees, hits the brakes, turns around to face it square on, and then drives over it because it's that clever. So we're seeing applications of this in new areas. So I'm with Freeman Clarke. So Freeman Clarke, who are they? So you've got the banner there. Freeman Clarke is a network of 120 technology principals doing fractional CTO roles and fractional board advisor roles. But the idea today is that we're going to look at some practical examples and actually bring this to life. So imagine in all the businesses that are in the room today, if you're serving customers, either business customers or consumers, if you could bring your whole organization to the table to serve each one, what would that look like? And that's what we're going to see here. So this is any guitarists in the room? Anyone play music? There's one there. So Dan is the figurehead of a YouTube channel that has had 500 million views. He's got something like 300,000 followers, and he runs a music tech business.
Dan here, and I'm here to help you in any way I can on your gig rig journey. What particular topics would you like to discuss today? If you're curious about any specific products, how to optimize your rig, or even tone crafting techniques, just let me know. What would you like to dive into?
Well, I hear you've got a kind of top-of-the-range guitar effect switcher, but how would you set one of those up? How would you set up your G3?
Setting up the G3 is pretty straightforward. Here's a quick guide. 1. Connect your gear. Plug your guitar into the G3's input. Connect your pedals to the effects loops on the back of the G3. 2. Amp connection. Connect the G3's outputs to your amp's effects return or input, depending on your setup. 3. Power supply. Use a gig rig power supply to ensure clean, isolated power to the G3 and your pedals. 4. MIDI setup. If you're using MIDI devices, connect them via the MIDI input-output on the G3. 5. Configure loops. Use the G3's interface to assign your pedals to different loops and set up the desired order. 6. Create presets.
Dan, you mentioned
Save your preferred loop config.
Dan, you mentioned power supplies. What gig rig power supply to power
It seems
that?
like there was a bit of a mix-up with the name there. I'm Dan. Gig rig power supply you might...
Hey Dan, I'm sorry about that. What power supply would I need for a dozen
The
pedals?
Gen X14 power supply offers several outputs with different...
Hey Dan, we're a bit tight on time, but thanks, buddy. That's been really useful.
Additionally, the G3 switching system requires a power... You're welcome. I'm glad I could help. If you have any more questions in the future or need assistance with your gear, don't hesitate to reach out. Enjoy your music journey.
So that's an example. It's picking up lots of background noise. It's picking up noise from the two microphones I've got, and it keeps wanting to kind of interrupt. But in a one-on-one situation, what you can do here is you can build on the information you've got. So you've got FAQs, you've got manuals, you've got videos, you've got blogs, you've got white papers you've written. Imagine if you bring all of that information, and all due respect to Sarah and about the legality of this, in this situation, this is all public domain information, but that doesn't mean that it's in the public domain. It doesn't mean that your customers, your business customers, or your consumers have actually got it. So the example here is that someone like Dan, or the garden centre guy, or the IT support person, or your, I won't say lawyer because we don't really want to get into that space, will be able to talk knowledgeably about your business and answer your questions in a way that will free up your customer service agents and your pre-sales people to then handle the more complex issues, the more value-added issues, and so on. So they can build on the information you've got. We've heard about the speed. Hajo was encouraging us to experiment first and then create the strategy. This kind of thing can be implemented in a period of 2 to 4 weeks. It can be that quick. And the last thing is, solutions like this can be ethical, they can be responsible, and they can be secure. And part of the logic behind that is the information that you're exposing is just your company information. You're not giving away trade secrets, personal information or anything. You're saying, this is my range of products. Let me tell you about our amazing things. Let me tell you about our new things. And it doesn't take much of a stretch to realize that if we'd let Dan have his course, he'd have said, hey, by the way, if you've already got one of these units, you should look at the complementary pedal board that we've got and the cases and our support package and all the rest of it. Shall I add it to the cart for you? You know, what else would you like to know? And so that conversational style is far more engaging than someone clicking through an e-commerce shop looking at what to load. So the moral of that story is, if you're in the business of serving customers and you've got experts, allow those experts to do the things that they're good at and let the AI agents actually serve your customers. Final quick note is that within Freeman Clarke, we run a series of free AI assessments with boards just to kind of warm them up. So Jed was talking about, start imagining the art of the possible, and his inducement not to wait, I would encourage. I look after roughly 500 startups a year in the world's largest accelerator. They're all doing AI stuff. So they will all be doing AI stuff in the areas that your business is operating in. So either you need to join in and work with them and work there, or they will start to steal your lunch. So if you need help with AI assessments, talk to Sally at the Frontier. She's from Freeman Clarke. If you need help with AI agents, talk to Dan. He's willing to help. If you need help with audio systems, perhaps not the holiday. Thank you.